So we are live now. Hey guys. So the last time we audited the website was caniuse.com. Today we are auditing Hindustan Times website, which is hindustantimes.com. And with me is Kushagra Kaur. Hey Kush,
Hey Apur.
what's happening? So today we are going to audit Hindustan Times. So what is your so what do you think about it? Are you a daily user of Hindustan Times?
Well, not really. I have not been too many times on that website, but
Okay.
from what I've seen, the page is quite good on content, but it seems quite unoptimized at times on many
Okay.
pages. Let's see
For
today
sure.
what all stuff is going wrong.
Sure, yeah, let's dive into that. Okay, so let's start on. So what I'm thinking is that as we perform our audit, so the last time that we did for caniuse.com, we were specifically focusing upon the rendering part. Today we are going to start with the networking part and then move on to the rendering part because we see a lot of scope of improvement on the network utilization of resources and loading the resources appropriately. So let's start off with that then. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So first of all, as we can see, the Hindustan websites is already loaded up on my machine. I'm able to see a lot of images and ads also along with that, and bits of text and things all over the place. So I guess they need to heavily optimize first of all their images because that is what they are focused upon because even when people are coming onto their websites and looking for some news, I guess pictures helps to relate a lot, right, Kush?
Yeah, exactly. Image is something that most of the site is made up of here. So that needs to be the main concern. It needs to be optimized for better performance.
Exact, exactly. So, okay, let's start off with the web page test first of all, and let's see that what report it has generated for us. So let me switch on to the web page test performance and describe as to what or how it scored HindustanTimes.com. So what I can see is that the total load time of HindustanTimes.com is 19 seconds. Wow, that
Mm-hmm.
is quite a lot, right, Kush?
Exactly. And by load time, we mean the load time from beginning of the website since it starts loading till the first sync resource is loaded, right?
That will be that will be the render time, right? So the load time will comprise of all the resources, even that are fetched via async requests and something of that sort. So it will be what all loads up when a person has opened up HindustanTimes.com. Cool.
Right.
So I guess it's 19 seconds, and that's quite a lot. What we expect, I guess, should be less than at least 3 or 4 seconds at the max. I mean, something which loads up in like 90 seconds is taking up a lot of time. So let's see as to what is happening. Okay, so the first byte that came in is at 1 seconds. Okay, 1 seconds it took to get the entire HTML from the server. So okay, that can be optimized further. Let's think about that later. So what other things that are available from the data provided by web page test is that the start rendering time is 4 seconds. Okay, so that's quite a lot. I would expect the start render time to be at least less than 1 second, right, Kush?
Exactly. The user needs to see the first pixel as soon as possible, and this is too much. 4.2 is too much.
Yeah. So even with some studies that I've come across before, the studies say that a person starts losing interest in the first 100 milliseconds. So you should actually vouch to get your first pixel rendered in less than 100 milliseconds. If it's more than 600 or 700 milliseconds, the person starts losing some interest or starts thinking of something else and not the actual content that he's looking out for when he has opened up the website. So I guess if you're thinking of having a start render time to be 4 seconds, that will be quite a lot. So they should really optimize the start render time at least. Then the visual complete website says that it's entirely loaded up on in like 21 seconds, which also they should consider. Then there are a lot of things. For example, the DOM elements are like 2000. Okay, then the DOM complete and the fully loaded things. Cool. So a lot of metrics we have now, and I guess we can take it up one by one.
Mhm.
So first of all, starting off with the DNS lookup that I can see is it starts off with first of all HindustanTimes.com, and it goes on for a DNS lookup which takes around uh, zero point 0.1 milliseconds, I guess, or it took, okay, 300 milliseconds. So I guess the DNS lookup can also be optimized by having or by looking forward to some other servers which are near to your location. I guess if it's pinging from some other service, then it might be taking a lot of time because 300 milliseconds just for the DNS resolution is quite a lot. So first of all, that can be optimized. But what I can see is that I can see the color of DNS lookup in different requests which are coming on from the different domains. So first of all, that I would suggest to the team over there is that you can also prefetch DNS lookups by including the name of the domains in your head so that you don't actually waste your time doing a DNS lookup when the request when the browser actually starts the request. So that can be optimized. Apart from that, what I can see is that there are a lot of resources that are being fetched one after the other in a group of six. So what I can say is that they haven't optimized in a way where they can fetch resources in parallel. So if you're having multiple domains in place and you're fetching or seeking requests from them simultaneously, can actually you should actually make use of them instead of just loading it from the same domain, which seems to be over here is www.hindustantimes.com. So I guess if they're having multiple domains, then the request will be in parallel instead of in a group of six, what we can see over here. For example, the things that you can look for in the pointer. So I guess making them in parallel will drastically reduce the actual page load time very well in this case. All right, Kush?
Exactly, exactly.
Cool. So, and the start render time is around like 4 seconds. So, I guess a lot of CSS and JavaScript must be in the head, which is making for the 4+ seconds of start render time. So, let's dive on to their source code and see as to what the situation is over here. So, what I can see is that if I ask for the script tags, whoa, okay. So, I can see the links as well as the script tags both in the head. Okay,
And
so
mind you,
that is
these
something
tags are all synchronous script tags. So till all these scripts are not loaded, the page won't start render because this is all in the head.
exactly. I guess to get your page render time to reduce, you must not actually do this because that will seriously impact your page render time or the
Mhm.
start render time. So you must not have it. So first of all, what we can see is that the style sheets are loaded, and after that, your scripts get loaded, and all of them are in the head. So it's a lot of things that are happening. So I'll go on and tell you step by step as to what you should optimize for. So first of all of your resources shouldn't be in the head. Only the critical CSS should be in place, which is the least amount of CSS required for the proper display of your HTML. So if you have critical CSS in place and you have got the HTML content right after then, so your so your start render time will reduce drastically. It will just use your HTML along with the critical CSS that you have placed, and it will start your page render. If you're so after that, considering that you have removed all of these resources, what you can do is you can place them in the end of the body so that they don't affect your start render time, and the customer is or the user is able to see the different portion of your visible content instead of thinking of the rest of the CSS rules that need to be applied to the other part of the DOM. Right, Kush? So these should be it, right?
Yeah,
For reducing the render time.
exactly. So at least the script tags. So scripts are something you generally use for interactivity. And while the page is being loaded, there's hardly any requirement that there should be any interaction possible. So at least the script tag should never be loaded in the head. And as far as CSS is concerned, as Apu mentioned, only the critical part which is required to render the content above the fold should be in the head, and rest can all be dumped in after the body or at the end of the body.
Exactly. And what I can even say is that I see a lot of tracking things, a lot of trackers all in the head part. So I would like to all of them have all of them in a different separate analytics file, which can be loaded asynchronously. Right, Kush?
Yeah, so
And place them at the end of the body.
yeah, so you can always validate. So generally nowadays all the tracking scripts are asynchronous, but just a suggestion that do verify that they are asynchronous and are not synchronous.
Exactly. So, okay, so all of this is what I can see in the head part only, that most of the trackers and the tracking JS files are in the head, and very less are in the footer itself. And also, which are in the footer are not loaded asynchronously, which they should. So that is something that they should look out for. Uh, so that is it for reducing the start render time. Now let's see as to what all can be optimized over here. Uh, so let's start on with the film strip that we saw earlier as to how the page gets rendered. Okay, so this is like the film strip as to how the page gets loaded. So I'm not able to see any of the paints happening before even 6.5 seconds, which is quite a lot, right, Kush?
Sure. So if we were to map this to the HTML we saw just now, so till 6.5 seconds, it is the time in which all those CSS and script tags we just saw are being fetched and passed. So this is
Exactly. And what I can even see is that it comes as a huge blot and not something that is rendered slowly and steadily. Um, I'm able to see all of the images coming in just right that. So not sure if they're la even lazy loading the images. I guess having the critical CSS in place and allowing your HTML to load should really affect the critical render time. But apart from that, you must consider even having the lazy loading of your images so that your images are not required first in the first view. What they can do is that they can load in as per the user's request or the part of the page that a user is actually viewing. So that should create a lot of optimization, right, Kush?
exactly, yep.
So I'm even able to see, I mean, most of the images that are loading in and are actually responsible for affecting the page load time. So let's actually see as to how page speed has rated HindustanTimes.com. Okay, so I've opened up this page of PageSpeed Insights, and what I'm able to see is a score of 53, which is quite less for a website, and they should really optimize that. So, what I'm able to see is that a lot of rules have been broken up, which are required for the page speed to work properly, or to reduce the page load time. And I mean, the essentials that they should really fix is rendering the blocking JavaScript and CSS in the above fold content, which I already said that they can put in the body and have a correct placement of CSS and JavaScript files and have just critical CSS in place in the head. Apart from that, everything that can be loaded asynchronously should be loaded that way. Apart from that, what I'm able to see is a lot of JavaScript files which are I mean called in, and they are not concatenated. So shouldn't it be that way, Kush, that they should be concatenated into a single file and then loaded properly?
Yeah, that is one thing which I saw, and that is very concerning. So all those script tags and even the CSS was not concatenated. So there were around 6 CSS files being loaded synchronously, which could have been ideally concatenated into a single CSS file and loaded in a single request. So that is one.
Exactly. So that will reduce their connection time and even the prefetch if they're using some other domain. So I guess that can be taken care of if they use a single JS file instead of requesting for multiple, right?
True.
So apart from that, PageSpeed also shows that they should optimize their images. That is the thing that they're using for optimizing the images is something that should be looked into, which can be optimized further because they are a media website and they have a lot of images. So helping optimizing the images will play a very big role, because that is the most of the stuff, or the most of the size of the page is contributed by the images themselves, right?
Exactly.
Sure. So apart from that, there's also the browser caching thing that is being described over here. But what I can see is that it's the third-party services that are asked for the caching. And I guess if you're partnering up with the other third-party websites, then you can even ask them to leverage browser caching. Or if they are not able to, then maybe you should route it by yourself, so that browser caching is actually taking place, and you're able to benefit from it instead of loading resources every request, right?
Right, right. And there's one more thing I noticed in the script tags that were loading synchronously and blocking the render. So as you
Okay.
see, of the JavaScript files seem to be related to advertisement or something, and you really don't want advertisements to block your render time. So
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
could just be dumped in the end of the page. So that is
Sure.
very
Yeah. True, true. That should be really it. I mean, the ads should not affect your customer experience, right?
exactly.
As they play a major role only after a person has viewed your page and has relied upon you that, yeah, the content that is being displayed by the website seems to be of some importance to him. And only then, if he turns on his attention to the ads that are displayed over here, then it makes sense, because otherwise it won't be, or the user might be leaving your website for nothing, right? So it will seriously impact your conversion if you are proceeding it this way, and you should really optimize it. So that was a great tip. So coming on after this, other fixes that are asked for are minification of JavaScript, which is from the website itself, from hindustantimes.com itself. That is the resources that are being asked for. They are not minified. So these are some of the things that you should must have, and you should have it as part of your deployment process, so that they are already taken care of and you don't even have to think about it, right?
Right, exactly. So
So,
there's one thing I can see right now. So as the Google page speed mentions, the
yeah,
scripts are not minified. So if you could just see the CSS being loaded on the website, there are exactly five CSS
true. Yeah,
loaded. And if you just have a look here, none of these are minified. So we
sure.
could have
Yeah,
bytes if this was minified.
true, true. So I guess they can use Grunt or the other tools that are available, that are open source, to actually have them as a part of their deployment process, so that something of this sort doesn't affect the page load time, right?
Sure, sure. Anything can be used to minify. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So let's proceed on ahead, and I can see other things, for example, which says that they also need to enable compression for some third-party JavaScript, and yeah, for some third-party JavaScripts. So I guess even when you're uh, loading resources from a third-party websites, one should seriously consider as to how much they are contributing to your page load time, right? Because it won't be a good if they're actually increasing your page load time and affecting your user's experience, because that shouldn't be something that one should vouch for. And instead, if this is a practice that is not being followed by the third-party websites, then you must actually connect with them and ask them to actually take care of it. Otherwise, it will be impacting not only their business but yours business as well. Right, Kush?
Right. And even if you cannot work around some deal with them, it's better to cache the files at your end and do whatever optimization is needed on them.
Sure, yeah, that can also be done if it's not possible to actually connect with them, or they are not concerned with actually the compression of the resources on their side, or passing some headers which allows it to be cached by the browsers. Sure,
Right.
yeah, that's a great tip. Apart from that, the other things that are suggested by PageSpeed include the minification of CSS as told by Kush earlier, that they are not compressed, and it can seriously lead to a lot more percent of reduction in their total page load time. Apart from that, minification of HTML is also something that they can look out for, which will add to a lot more bits and can in all reduce their page load time. That is what page speed tells us. Apart from that, as we have described earlier, the things as told by web page tests report that the render time is quite huge, and how it can be reduced. So I guess these are the improvements that I can think of in their network performance that contributes to their network performance, which can be seriously optimized so that they can achieve a total page load time of less than 3 seconds, their start render time less than 600 to 700 milliseconds, and have a much better customer experience. So that's it from my side, Kush. Turning on to you for actually describing the rendering part now.
Sure, okay. So I have the website open in front of me in Google Chrome, and let's refresh this page and see how it performs on the first load. Okay, we see the page getting rendered. Right, so I have my first load ready, and 125 requests have already been sent, and 2 MB of data transferred over the wire.
Wow, 2 MB is quite a huge, specifically when you are actually visiting this website from the mobile. I'm not sure
Exactly.
if they have optimized it for mobile or not, but yeah, 2 MB seems quite a lot.
And that too when I've just not scrolled over below the fold. I'm just over the fold, and I'm viewing the first view of the website, and that is comprised of 2 MB, which is a lot.
Exactly.
Okay, let's maybe scroll down a bit and explore. So if you notice, if I start viewing something which I haven't viewed before,
Yeah,
this there's a kind of jank I am able to see. So maybe
true.
something is happening when a view is rendered first time for a viewer. There's something happening which is causing the jank.
Yes, for sure.
So maybe we could audit this using the developer tools timeline as we did before for caniuse.com. So let's open the timeline and reload the page one more time. So what I'll do now is I'll start the recording in the timeline and then start scrolling down for views that I haven't seen yet, and let's see how they perform. So I'm just scrolling down and seeing some images being loaded lazily. Okay, right. Okay, this should be enough to get enough data to analyze. Oh,
Wow.
so as we can see, there are quite green bars and yellow bars that are crossing the 60 FPS line. For example, there's a lot of script passing being execution being happening here, and most of the bars are crossing the 60 FPS line. So surely script is a major concern at places for not getting pure 60 FPS on the fresh load. So let's
Very
see
true.
what script is causing this. Okay, so I see a yellow bar which is taking quite a time. So this is something which is taking around 32 milliseconds, something related to jQuery, I guess. And 32 milliseconds is much more than we have for a single frame. So it's almost double than the time we have. 16 milliseconds is all we have to render a frame within 60 frames per second, and this is taking too much.
Yeah,
And if you can notice here, this function is being called, I guess, from a scroll event. So most
yeah.
probably what's happening is when I'm scrolling down and viewing something which wasn't rendered before, something is
Mhm.
getting triggered by the scroll event, and jQuery is being used to do something which is taking a lot of time, 32 milliseconds to be exact. So that is
Fair enough.
one reason for jank.
True. So what do you suggest in this case, Kush?
Right, so one thing that surely could be done is whatever script you are executing on the on that scroll event. So I don't think the scroll event is firing too much frequently and being catered to. It's just firing one time and a script is executing. So most probably the cause is that whatever you are writing, whatever script is being written is taking too much time. So maybe it's causing reflows or something, or the script is exactly too heavy on the CPU or something.
Sure, yeah. So that might be the case where, I mean, a lot of your JavaScript is touching the DOM. At that point of time, a lot of reflows are happening, and that might be contributing in exceeding your the time frame that is provided by your browser, which is 16 milliseconds, right?
Sure, sure. So the JavaScript could be accessing something from the DOM, maybe reading dimensions of elements or putting in things into the element. So those operation we can categorize into reads and writes. So those could be happening alternatively, which is a main reason why scripts take too much time when touching the DOM. So the
True.
best practice here is to always uh, bucket your reads and writes and make them happen in one go and not alternatively one after the other.
Exactly.
So this is something which is taking too much time. It's a function call on a timer, I guess. So maybe this has timers installed on the website and they're executing something and it's taking too much time. So again, same reason, maybe some script which is taking too much time.
Sure.
Okay, we have some script bars crossing the 60 fps line here as well. Okay, so as we can see here, there's one event, load event to be exact, firing, and jQuery again working here. So this is most probably the load event for a single image that was loading lazily when I scroll down. So most
Mhm.
probably they are executing some script when an image loads, completely loads. So this is again taking too much time.
True.
Yeah, so more or less, it's the script which could highly be optimized on this website, and they are particularly executing when I scroll down and maybe images are loading or some scroll event is firing. So that could be heavily optimized to make the page scroll jankless.
Sure, yeah. I mean, optimization of scripts is something that they should really look out for because they are image-heavy websites requiring a lot of images, and if you're not actually taking care of it and are letting your script fire as it is for now, so I guess that will contribute a lot more to the jankiness of the website. So one must really, I mean, consider making their JavaScript performant and I mean, seriously consider the solutions that we have prescribed so that it doesn't actually cross the 16 millisecond window which is being provided by the browser, right, Kush?
Exactly, exactly.
Sure. So, cool. So, I guess that will be very helpful for the people who are actually using or are developing for HindustanTimes.com and for the customers as well who are actually using their website every day to use it or look out for the latest news on the website. I guess with the performance optimizations that we have described, it will seriously help a lot for them as well as every customers of theirs. Anything you want to add, Kush?
I think we can just summarize what we have actually seen from this audit, and maybe we can point out the main issues for HindustanTimes.com.
Sure, yeah. So, what I can say from the networking side is that, I mean, please use webpagetest.org for actually auditing your website and actually getting to know as to what requirements are for your website, which are lacking for now and can help you actually get a very good score on your page speed and which will seriously impact your performance. The things that we looked out for was specifically taking care of your resources. For example, minification of your resources, compressing your images, using multiple domains so that they can be fetched in parallel. Apart from that, having critical CSS in place so that you can reduce your start render time, having all the resources that are not required in the head itself to be moved down into the body so that they do not affect your start render time and can be lazy loaded even if required at all. And apart from that, you must also compress your images so that because yours is a very image heavy website, so the most optimized images are served to your customers. Apart from that, I guess having even a mobile responsive website, which allows your website users to actually have a glimpse of it on your of your website onto the mobile before actually proceeding on with your mobile app. I guess that is also something that can be added and should be looked out for. Because as per even the Chrome Dev Summit in the last year, what was mentioned was that, I mean, most of the content discovery happens through the web search as of now, which comprises of the web searches that are happening both from the mobile and the desktop as well. So having your responsive website for the people who are not simply going on for the install of your mobile application can start off first with the mobile responsive view, and then if and then seeing the content of the website, I guess they can surely be converted to actually get a mobile app for yourself. So I guess that will be it for regarding the network optimization part, and that can seriously contribute to reducing their page load time and the start render time drastically. On to Kush now for the improvements that one can see further for reducing the jankiness of the website or the rendering part. Over to Kush.
Yeah, so as far as the page performance is concerned after getting rendered, one thing I would like to suggest is that they do not they highly optimize their JavaScript that is being loaded, that is being getting executed when I scroll the page. So one thing is that you should reduce the maybe the DOM manipulations you are doing in the JavaScript or something, batch them into batch the reads and writes into buckets so they not happen alternatively after each other, which are maybe causing reflows. So that would be it as far as the page performance is concerned. And if there is one thing I would like to, I would do the first thing to optimize this website and suggest to the guys at HindustanTimes.com, please clear your head section of the website. And once you have those script tags and CSS tags removed from the head, that is one thing they could uh, that could make the website highly performant, and they could really benefit from that.
Sure, yeah, I guess that will really contribute to their first render time. And
Sure.
after that, they can proceed on with the optimizations to perform in the JavaScript and CSS as well. I mean, removing all the CSS that is not required or is specific to the inner pages or to the other pages of theirs. I guess that can be taken care of later, but first of all, they should really optimize the page load time and the start render time at least, right?
Definitely.
Cool. So that's it. That's it from our side, the perf auditors. We'll get back to you regarding the same, and you can look out for our blog post regarding the optimizations of or the audit of HindustanTimes.com, and you can see a lot more things documented so that you even you if you have to perform it on your website, you can learn from the same and then apply it on your website. So I guess that's it from our side. So over to Krishna.
And again, if you guys have requests for websites or apps that you want us to audit, please let us know in the comments, and we'll have it for sure.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Kush.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.